Today is 26th November, which is celebrated as a Constitution Day of India. So, as an advocate and as an MLA, what do you want to say on that?
See, the Constitution of India is the basic framework, which is the foundation of our nation. And the Constitution, when it was drafted by the Constituent Assembly, laid the way for a socialist, democratic Republic of India. The words which were later on introduced, secular, were being challenged. And I am happy to say that yesterday the Supreme Court dismissed the petition which called in question the 1978 amendment. Supreme Court laid down certain reasons why socialist and secular are part of the fabric of our constitution even before the words were inserted in the constitution. Constitution is the basic document which we need to look at, not only to uphold the rights of the citizens, especially the fundamental right which are being attacked time and again by the government, which compels us to go to court, and even the right to recourse for grievance for violation of fundamental rights, which is in part 3 of the Constitution, is protected by including Article 32, where a person can move directly to the Supreme Court for violation of fundamental right in part 3 of the Constitution, which means even the right to move the Supreme Court for violation of fundamental right is a fundamental right itself. So the Constitution also lays down the parameters and jurisdictions of each of the governments, of the assemblies, and on what basis the legislations can be made, and one cannot trample upon the other. And therefore, it is imperative that we always know to learn and respect the Constitution, because the Constitution will be the beacon and the guiding light for how our nation and the laws of our nation will be framed and taken forward.
CMR ने एक स्टेटमेंट किया that there is a need to implement the uniform civil code and one nation, one election concept immediately. So, what do you want to say on that?
Uniform Civil Code गोंय आसा आनी युनिफॉर्म सिव्हिल कोड आमी जाणात कितले बरे आहा कित्याक सगळे whether men or women आमगे सगळे युनिफॉर्म कायदो आसा whether married or not married, whether eldest or youngest, कित्याक तीन थोडे पावटी in succession laws the eldest and youngest are discriminated, but here in Goa everybody has equal right. And because this equality has been brought in by the Portuguese regime and enforced throughout Goa, that is why you realize that women have equal rights with men, and that is why we all respect women equally without discrimination or trying to shun them in the corner, which unfortunately is not happening in many parts of India. And therefore, it's the need for bringing a uniform civil code in the rest of India. And there's nothing which needs to be done as far as Goa is concerned. As far as one nation, one election is concerned, let me be honest with you. Apart from the constitutional requirements of amending the constitution, legal requirements of amending the election laws, there's another part of it which will happen. Things may not work. And why things don't work? Can you guarantee that when a government which comes into power will enjoy a complete 5-year mandate, if it does not, if it relies on allies, if it relies on external support, or those people join the government, what guarantee is that they will remain there for 5 years and they don't move out in between? Today, you see, BJP itself is attacking the constitution and denigrating it. They are making mockery of the 10th schedule. They are buying out people from other political parties, and that is how they are trampling upon the constitution. What constitution are they talking about? And if you know, at the time of elections, the run up to the parliamentary election, there were several members of the BJP who were making noises that the constitution needs to be changed and rewritten. But why I say this one nation, one election won't work? If a government should collapse in the middle of its tenure of 5 years, what happens to the balance? Central government will run it for the balance period. Then if you have a by-election for the balanced tenure, or if you have a fresh election in the middle of that 5-year tenure, the schedule gets upset. There won't be one election and one this thing. But anyway, let them put that in action. And another thing is, India is such a big country. Can you actually have election on one day? When you talk of saying one nation, one election, that is what, if you want, have election all across the country in one day, because then you'll come to know who goes to vote twice and thrice from one state to another, because many people have registered their votes also, and there are voters who have been caught having registered themselves in several places, double or triple. So if you want to speak of one nation, one election, it can't be like this. And if you think of another thing, what will happen? We speak about spending money and all that. I think sometimes, with great respect, the election commission is spending crores of rupees on elections. And when we ask, there are dinners, there are things and all which are being held, and money is getting wasted on these kind of things instead of useful things. But you talk of money saving, then you talk of people deployment. How is it possible to keep people being deployed from here and there? And if you try to say one election, you think of it across the state. If for 4 states election is going on for 2 months, across 2 months, the entire country, if it goes to election, the whole year round we will be going on with elections, which will be impossible. So therefore, I think that while it may be an idealistic thought, but I think practically it will be impossible, and the flaws will show up when the time comes.
So you mean to say that our constitution is very dangerous in the BJP rule?
No, no, I don't say constitution is dangerous. Constitution is facing a lot of attacks. I will put it this way to you. I will give you one the latest example. You saw that when Congress people went to protest a few days back at Azad Maidan, I have come to know, we are waiting for the copy of the order, that the Congress party or the members of the Congress party have been banned from taking out any protest for 6 months. Is there such a provision allowed in the Constitution? Is this not violation of fundamental rights? Is this not the right violation of fundamental right to protest? So definitely, how do magistrates pass such orders? Magistrates will not cross their jurisdiction unless there's a directive from somewhere on the top. Magistrates will not have the guts to do this unless they feel they have a backing from somewhere on the top. And today, who is at the top is the BJP, which is ruling the state, and therefore, what more suspicion can we have than it is BJP who's trampling upon the constitutional mandate? There are many other instances which we will prove. We will also establish with court proceedings, because we are getting documents, and from time to time I will remind you what I had said today, that this is part of the process of which we have discovered of trampling of the constitution.